What's going on, everybody? I want to thank you all for joining me today. Please do the most important thing for me before this video gets started, and that's hit the like button. That is the most important thing that you can do for me on this channel because it makes sure that those who are subscribed to the channel will get their notifications, and it also helps to make sure that this video gets pushed through the YouTube algorithm. Also, if you haven't already and you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification next to the subscribe button so you can be notified whenever I release a new video. And lastly, please make sure you share this video out on your social media platforms. Now, in today's news, our friend, our buddy, our pal, Joe Biden is back in the black church again. He ran back to the black church again, begging for black votes once again in South Carolina. So what I want to do is that I want to get into this news clip and let's dissect it a little bit just to see, you know, like I said, what our good friend Joe Biden is actually talking about. And if he's offering black folks anything for their vote or if he's just offering up more fear. Let's see what he's saying.
Please, thank you.
U.S. President Joe Biden on Sunday spoke in an historically black church in South Carolina as part of a campaign to shore up support from a key constituency of his Democratic Party as he heads into a likely presidential election rematch against Republican frontrunner Donald Trump.
You give us a dream and a faith that we shall overcome. We can overcome.
He said that black churches served as a national reminder of an American promise of equality and suggested some wanted to see that equality eroded.
It's an idea that we can't abandon, and some want to see it abandoned.
I don't think anyone wants to see it abandoned more than the DNC, who has their open border policy, knowing and understanding how much of a net negative that actually is to the black community. There are numerous studies that have shown and proven that illegal immigration negatively impacts the black community the most. Nonetheless, they're still for open borders as far as the DNC is concerned. So I don't know, you tell me who's more against black folks. Is it, you know, Donald Trump, who's for closing the border? Or is it Joe Biden and the Democrats who want open borders? You tell me.
A good man, Joe Biden.
He spent the weekend
Jim Clyburn is such a Sambo. A good man, Joe Biden. He's a good man now.
Want to see it abandoned.
A good man, Joe Biden.
Y'all get out there and vote for Biden now. Donald Trump gonna put us back in chains.
They're gonna put you all back in chains.
He's gonna bring back slavery.
Spent the weekend courting black voters and trying to draw a contrast with his Republican predecessor and likely challenger on subjects such as voting and abortion rights.
Trump and his MAGA friends are determined to take away your freedoms, like the freedom to vote. Trump brags about taking away a woman's freedom to choose.
So he wants to take away black people's freedom to vote. I don't I don't know what evidence there is that Donald Trump wants to take away black people's freedom to vote. But I'll tell you who do wants to suppress your voting power once again is the Democratic Party. As we speak, with the borders being wide open since 2021, we've also seen a mass push in these DNC cities to put in place non-citizen voting. So really think about this for a moment. You have literally tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, if you're in New York, of illegal immigrants being flooded into your communities where you live. And now with the implementation of non-citizen voting, what does that then do to your vote as it pertains to local elections, right? Just like that, overnight, your vote is inconsequential. But he's talking to you about what Donald Trump wants to do as it pertains to frustrating the ability for black people to vote. You see, these are the kind of games that they play. They fearmonger you about voter suppression. Meanwhile, at the same time, flood your neighborhoods and your communities with illegal immigrants just to give them the right to vote. And they're also trying to implement in many of these cities non-citizen policing as well. And don't many black folks, especially those of you who vote blue no matter who, don't you have a strong issue with the police? That's what many of you say, right? Now, as far as policing issues are concerned and police shootings, that's not something that I cover on this channel. I never talk about those things. I have my own opinions about it, but I keep it to myself. I don't care to get on here and even speak on that too much. But I'll say this much: for those of you who have such a problem with policing, for those of you who have an issue with policing and police shootings and police brutality as it pertains to the police relationship with Black Americans, I'll tell you this much: if you thought that American white man was something, that European is something else now. That European white man gonna really give it to you. Because going back to Chicago, when you want to talk about 30,000 Ukrainians that were brought into Chicago seamlessly overnight, you thought that American white man was something. That Osgood battalion gonna be something else when they pull you over with that strong Russian sounding accent. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So you're the one who says that you have an issue with these things, right? And I'm not here to argue with you against it. I'll let you have that. But you have an issue with these things, and the Democratic Party, who is supposed to be your friend and on your side, they're not doing anything to assist you with those things. They're actually implementing policies in place that will actually make the situation worse as it pertains to policing and as it pertains to voting in connection to Black people. But yet he'll sit up here and lie to you about what Donald Trump is going to do to you, even though he's never articulated anything about suppressing the Black vote. Go figure.
And he criticized Trump for a recent incident where the Republican appeared to confuse his primary challenger, former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, with former Democratic House Speaker Nancy Pelosi.
He apparently can't tell the difference between Nikki Haley and Nancy Pelosi.
Biden is the last person that needs to be talking about who can't tell the difference between what. This man is the king of gibberish. There's no one who speaks more gibberish than Joe Biden. And he really thought he said something just now, too. Let me rewind that a little bit. His eyes were wide open and everything. Nobody speaks as much gibberish as Joe Biden does.
He apparently can't tell the difference between Nikki Haley and Nancy Pelosi.
Biden wasn't the only one taking shots at Trump. Haley, who has so far failed to win a single Republican primary, on Saturday also brought up her rival's apparent mix-up. She also called him, quote, tired, totally unhinged, and challenged him to meet her face-to-face in a debate.
Donald Trump will wash Nikki Haley.
Has refused to participate in any of the Republican nominating debates and is refusing to debate Haley.
I'll tell you what. I feel sharper now than I did 20 years ago. I really do.
In remarks from Las Vegas, Trump pushed back on reports about his recent gaffes and said Haley would be a much weaker Republican candidate.
The radical left Democrats want Nikki Haley because they know she's the easiest person to beat, and she will. She doesn't have Republican support.
Nikki Haley is an undercover Democrat who's pretending to be a Republican. I mean, that's just obvious at this point. She's also someone who's going to be very soft on illegal immigration if she was to get into office.
Trump and his allies have begun a campaign to force Haley out of the race before the next major vote in the primary contest in her home state of South Carolina on February 24th. Haley has pledged to keep campaigning in South Carolina and beyond.
The Democrats are desperate for Nikki Haley to become the Republican nominee. I don't see that happening unless some way, somehow Trump was disqualified. I believe there's still like a little Supreme Court case going on surrounding Donald Trump and whether or not he'll be even disqualified from running concerning the J6 situation. But I think that's what everybody's holding out on right now, because at the end of the day, if Trump isn't running, right, and if illegal immigration is your thing, and that's my thing over here, that's my big thing. If he isn't running and immigration is your thing, like how it is mine, and the only choice on the ballot is Nikki Haley versus Joe Biden or Nikki Haley versus any Democrat, well, then the border is going to remain open. We're going to continue to see this mass influx of so-called migrants crossing the border illegally and then entering into your communities and then displacing you economically speaking at the workplace, like as we've seen in Grand Rapids, like I discussed, I think it was last week. In Grand Rapids, Michigan, you have factory upon factory upon factory upon factory that are housed with illegal immigrant children, not even adults, illegal immigrant children, 14, 15, 16 years old, working in these factories day and night. Meanwhile, in the same city, you have Black American citizens who have this astronomically high unemployment rate compared to their other counterparts, right? So you have this going on all throughout the country, not just in Grand Rapids, Michigan, but all throughout the country. And I'm telling you now, that's not going to stop, and that's not going to come to an end in any way, shape, or fashion under Joe Biden or Nikki Haley or any other Democrat. It's just not going to happen. So if those are your two options, Nikki Haley or any other Democrat, if you're black, and it's not just a black issue, obviously, it's an overall American citizen issue, but illegal immigration does negatively impact Black Americans the most and compared to their other quote counterparts. If either one of them are the ones that are running on the ballot, other than Trump, like I said, you can expect the displacement to continue, displacement at the workplace, economic displacement, because you're not able to get jobs that because they're getting under the table money that's significantly less than what these companies would have been forced to pay you concerning an honest wage. None of that is coming to an end with those two running. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how things go moving forward. And that does it for today's news. So hit the subscribe button on your way out and hit the like button as well, because that's extremely important. And I will catch you guys later. Peace.